In this video, we're going to talk about transfer boards and why they're critical getting to and from your wheelchair. We'll talk about what they are, how they work, some of the special features, and what to look out for. G'day Todd, nice to speak to you again.
Good to be here.
So we have a whole show and tell thing going on here. Tell me first, what is a transfer board and how do they work?
A transfer board is simply a device that allows you to scooch from your wheelchair into another place.
Can you do this kind of under your own power? Do you need someone to help you?
It depends. In many cases, people use transfer boards so they do not need assistance from somebody else.
Okay, so this is great for independence.
Yes, it is.
All right, good. So let's say you're disabled, you have a wheelchair. What are some of the places you're getting to and from?
Well, you're in a wheelchair. You need to get to your car seat. You may need to get to a commode. You may need to get to your bed. You may need to get to your couch.
It also looks like something you could use for snowboarding, but I'm assuming that's off the cards.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
All right, good. So maybe you can show me with this one, white versus other colors. What's the difference? What is it?
A whole bunch of different options when you choose a transfer board. This one happens to be made out of high-density polyethylene. Mm-hmm. So if it's used in a bathtub around wet, this is actually used for bare bottom transfer. So, yeah.
So that's the bare ass transfer board.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, good.
And then this one here is a very slippery. We call it a super slide, but it's got a very slick surface on it.
Right.
And but it's an economical board also.
Well, this one's weird to me because, I mean, you're talking about bare ass transfer. This looks like some chafing setup. This is if you want to polish yourself somehow.
No, that's actually to stick on the seat where you're coming from so it doesn't fall off while you're sliding.
Okay, cool. So these are very specific. This one here is shaped for a very odd-shaped person. I'm not quite sure what this is saying. How is this one different from the others?
This one actually allows you to get around the wheel of your wheelchair.
Okay, so that wheel would kind of go in there somehow.
Yeah.
And this allows you to kind of adapt. You have given me a huge chart here. I'm just going to hold that up so that we can see that broadly. So there's a lot of different shapes here. And you guys make, I want to say, one-off tailored versions of these as well.
Absolutely. And that's probably 50% of the shapes that we manufacture.
All right, so there's lots of different options here. So talk me through this. Let's say I want to go from my wheelchair to a bed. Can you kind of try and show me a little bit about how this would actually work?
You want a little bit of a demo?
Yeah, well, even just from the seat that you're in here.
Okay,
we can break out a little
so
bit
let's say there's a wheelchair here.
Yep.
You would pull your wheelchair up to whatever you're trying to transfer to.
Okay.
And then you would sort of, let's say I'm going into a chair.
Okay.
That's easier.
All right.
So what I might do is I go like this, and my chair is here.
So this is like one cheek at a time.
It is. It's one cheek at a time, and I'm not going to go because it's going to fall, but you just scooch across.
Okay, so you kind of almost hop.
Yeah, hop. Well, yeah, hop, pull yourself. Typically, a transfer board is used when your legs don't work very well.
Okay, so it's almost, I want to say it's almost more of a ramp.
It's a ramp.
So do you like pick yourself up and hop, or do you kind of scooch across?
You scooch across, typically.
So somewhat of a transfer ramp.
Yeah, but depending on your disability, you might have the strength to hop.
Right.
In some cases, you might not have the strength, and you're more scooching.
Okay, good. So now let's talk about the different uses here. We have a transfer board from wheelchair to bed, which is what you just demonstrated. What about a transfer board for a car wheelchair? How is that used?
Well, it's very, very similar. You just have to make sure that you get the right shape depending on the configuration of, let's say, the car door and so forth, because you might have a challenge getting it in between those two. So again, that's where the shape is really, really important.
Okay.
The more challenging one is like to a commode, because commodes usually are round or oval. So you have, what's that?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So we make other transfer boards that are specifically designed to catch the rim of the commode so you can slide upon it.
Okay, goodness gracious, it sounds technical. It is one of those things you take for granted, right?
Yes, it is.
And suddenly it becomes a real challenge. What would you consider to be, I want to say, the best transfer board? What are some of the key features to look out for where you think this is a real Rolls Royce?
The best kind of transfer board is the one that works for you. So
I guess so.
And then also it holds up to the environment that you're using it in. For instance, if it's getting wet constantly, don't get one that is influenced by water. Right. You'd want a plastic one.
Right.
The other one is weight. Some are heavier than the others, but if you have difficulty holding the transfer board and it's very, very heavy, you want to get a light one and maybe shorter and so forth. And then also the surface that the transfer board allows you to slide upon. Some are very slippery. Some actually have moving devices on them. Some are stronger. Like there are some boards that require just a greater weight limit because you're a little bit bigger. So,
yeah, I mean, I was going to say, this seems to me like you might need more than one of these things depending on what you're doing, but also surely, I mean, do these ever break? What are some of the things what are the traps to look out for? You know?
They shouldn't break.
But sometimes they do if you've got one that's too lightweight for your weight.
Yes, that could happen. Typically, a transfer board wears out because you're sliding back and forth. It's in the elements, and then also it's dropped and so forth, and it starts to splinter on the edges and so forth. You want to be careful with getting a quality one that doesn't do that.
Doesn't have those problems.
Right.
All right, good. Well, thank you so much for all of your insights around transfer boards. I'm learning a lot. I appreciate that. And we'll also do a little bit of a demonstration later where we do this live from a wheelchair, show people actually how this works.
Great.
All right, thanks for your time, Todd. I appreciate that. For those of you who'd like to find out more, please visit us online at starhomehealthcare.com or call us directly on 855-862-8857. And hey, do us a favor if you wouldn't mind, please feel free to share this video, like this video, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel.